There's a lot of rave around this movie Obsession that's come out recently. I record these videos about 3 or 4 weeks in advance, so if this seems dated and behind to you, that's why I'm talking about it right now. There was something that I realized when watching this movie the other night, and I'm a big fan of watching all different genres of movie, and sometimes I tap into the horror. And yeah, 100% Obsession. Go see it if you're into horror. It is absolutely terrifying. There was a moment that my wife and I both had within this movie that I think we both jumped out of our seats. I certainly jumped out of my seat more than I ever have in any scary situation in my life. And it really became perplexing. I mean, I did like one of these. And it became very perplexing to me to try to dissect it, because it reminds you of how much psychological effect and even nervous system effect, maybe even damage, can be done to you through audiovisual triggers and techniques. The amount of tension building, the lighting is all things that people point to. And it's true. There's like there's the creep factor that goes into making feature films and horror movies and things like that sort of build that anxiety. Something that really got me with this movie in particular was that I even knew exactly, horror movies are relatively predictable. In this particular situation, I was like, oh, I know that someone's going to burst through a window here. And then they still burst through a window, and I was still shocked. I did that thing. So, what was actually going on? I'm not here to break it down, like what's going on in your psyche and things like that. But it does remind me of a few things that have come into my radar over the past few years that I'd like to share. And maybe you've gone down some of these rabbit holes as well. One of the things, actually, and you're probably familiar with this, is MK Ultra, mind control, infamous mind control studies of the CIA in the later 19th century, or 1900s, excuse me, that had a lot of experimentation on the mind, manipulation, brainwashing through the use of LSD, sensory deprivation, and things like that. And it also involved traumatizing the mind and the body. They wanted to create whatever they want, really. I read Kathy O'Brien's book, Transformation of America, which depicts the deep tiers of mind control and, sex slavery on a gruesome level. The human biology can really be hacked. It's not even the biology, it's sort of the psychobiology, the psychosomatic body can be hacked into believing and seeing everything. And you got sort of a couple different pools of thought out there in society around MK Ultra. And I'd say more or less you end up in two different camps. You end up in the camp of that was in the past, that doesn't exist now, which in my personal opinion is a very ignorant and arrogant stance to take. Or you look around society and you say, this is actually advanced. This MK Ultra has advanced into our society, and we are actually being manipulated and abused and exploited by MK Ultra program that has multiplied all through media. With the wave of the internet, there is so much that can actually impact and affect the human mind and the human psyche in so many different ways that we don't even know quite how to comprehend it, but we know that it's going on. I mean, if you just look at how violent our Western culture has become, and not just like a domestic violence, domestic violence has always been a problem, don't get me wrong, but the random acts of violence and the ill will towards others and the narcissism and the antisocial behavior split personalities are more often, and split personalities are absolutely one tool of something like the MK Ultra program, that which wants to brainwash an individual and mind control an individual. They use different personalities to control that individual and trigger on different characters to play out these roles. And this is all through trauma based. The idea is that the individual is traumatized and thus more controllable, to be put in layman's terms. But mind control aside, these audiovisual techniques are used everywhere. And something that got me into even doing this kind of format right now is wanting to understand marketing more. You know, I've been in music my whole life, and I've really struggled so deeply with how to find audience in different places. And having a little period of downtime a couple of years ago, I started exploring how to, find audience through music marketing, which is almost its own brainwashing cycle in itself. But you really start to understand, and I believe a lot of us are privy to all of these psychological tricks being played on us at any given moment through ads. We can hardly look any direction without seeing 50 ads at this point in our lives, depending on what, obviously if you're in the city, it's much more prevalent. But my point with all of this really is just to ignite in you the wonder about your environment. We all get lured into something. I'm at a point in my life, and if you're watching this, you're probably at a point in your life too, where you do get lured into those things and you start to dissect it. So getting to the core of what excites us and what puts us in a state of awe and adventure, even if it's just a casual commercial for pizza or whatever. Why are these things pulling us in, and why do these things have so much power? And if you don't like how they have so much power over you, what can you do to change those things and redirect your life to where even your algorithms are showing you things that actually are trying to engage you more, but they are actually valuable things that you're being engaged in? I think that if we dive into what the external algorithm is feeding to us, we actually can sort of dissect what energy we're putting out there as well, thus creating a deeper sense of reflection in how to take a little bit more control, a little more sovereignty over ourselves, and become accountable for our actions and our wants and desires. So let me know what you think about the state of digital marketing, how it affects you. Do you think MK Ultra is still reaching out to us and manipulating us through media at a rapid pace in society? Do you think it's the cause of so much individual corruption and degradation? And do you think that obsession plays into some of those psychological tricks, even if you love the movie? I'm not even knocking the movie. That dude, Curry Barker, I think, is the director. He's a crazy genius in his own. I'm not saying I know where he comes from, but he's obviously made a pretty impactful film. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Whatever. Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking.